Hey, my healthy hair friends. That just sounds so weird instead of hey, curl friends. Anyways, we still have curls underneath this, so it's whatever. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm glad you found your girl. Let me see. So if you watched my last video, you know that your girl is rocking and rolling in a whole different direction, honey. We done went to wash and go, to silk presses, and who knows what else we are gonna be doing. We are just committed to having healthy hair and having a good time while having it and just enjoying the journey of it just all together. So that's where we are. So let's talk about why I cut my hair when it seemed like, you know what, I was kind of over that hump. Let's get into it, because we nosy and we want to know all the things. So in one of my last videos, I was talking about the damage that I had sustained to my hair. I feel like a broken record on that. I'm so sick of talking about the damage. But I mean, it is what it is, right? And it's just part of what happened. But honey, what happens to you doesn't determine Nathan. It's how you handle it and rebound from it and your attitude through it. Okay? Can I get an amen on that? Where do I start? Because I'm a context person and I don't want to get all up in the weeds.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
But my hair, in my very last cut in October, I said that, I believe I said, I don't, because people be trying to pick apart all your words and all your videos and all your content. It's so silly. Anywho, I believe I was about 80 to 85% in terms of my hair health. I felt like I had still 15 to 20% to go before my hair was like fully there and fully back healthy, right? Because at the end of the day, I realized that I had to grow out a whole new head of hair. So that's the spoiler alert for everything. So when I went to my stylist, I went to her in December and I got it cut because I noticed that the ends were just they were still a little suspect. And what I realized is, I don't know what it is about this particular level of damage, but your hair unravels. Like,
I know that sounds crazy,
but the hair just kind of unravels at the end.
Damn!
And then also, because I had splits all the way up my hair strands, what I noticed is I would cut it and then it was almost like a stair stepper. The next level of splits would come down and then I'd cut it and then they would come down and I'd cut it and then I'd be dealing with those. It was like a stair stepper in terms of working my way through the damage. Girl, I just finally got to a point where I went in and I was like, bestie, because my stylist, she's one of my besties. I was like, girl, the hair is doing that again. And at first I was like, is this something I'm doing? Because I'm not above being like, you know what, I'm at fault. Because you manipulating and all that kind of stuff, doing the wash and go. My wash and go was cute though. My wash and go was cute. But still, and I was like, maybe I'm doing something. So I was like, bestie, we gotta cut it sooner because I'm just losing my patience, right? In the whole situation. I just want to be through it. So she's like, okay, we blow it out. She's like, oh, I see exactly what you're talking about. So she takes it off. Well, while she's taking it off, I'm like, peak game. Cut what needs to go. Like, don't play. Let's not play. Let's cut what needs to go. I'm tired of playing with this. I'm like, I want to enter 2024 on a totally clean slate. I want all this behind me. I want to leave it behind in 2023. Like, cut it. So she cuts it and I'm like, I still could tell like that it was still there. So then we're now in January. I go see her a month later and I'm like, bestie, it's doing it again. And I'm like, maybe it's the wash and goes. But I'm like, I'm still not certain, right? I'm like, maybe it's something I'm doing. So she cuts it and I'm like, you know what, this time I'm gonna do something different. Instead of going home and putting it right back in a wash and go or after a few days, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna wear it straight. okay? And then I was like, and I'm either going to straighten it again during my next wash, or I'm gonna wear it in some sort of stretch style, like a twist out, a roller set, or it's gonna be straight. It's not gonna be in a wash and go. All right. So before I could even get to the next wash, I noticed that the ends, shortly after she cut it, they seem to begin to unravel. And it's doing that same kind of deal. And it's almost like you see these flicky bits. The African hair god, AKA Narada, he calls, like when you see the little flicks in the hair, he calls them flicky bits. So I've started referring to them as flicky bits too. But these flicky bits have like split ends, right? And they just kind of, it's like you have the hair, you cut it, and it's together, but then it starts to unravel. And then it creates like a flicky bit. I mean, like he says, it's throwing up gang signs and everything. I don't even know how to, I'm like, I don't even know. Anywho, we don't want to know. Okay. So I noticed that my hair is unraveling and I'm seeing something happen that I really didn't get to see through this whole situation. All I've seen so far is that I would go right back into a wash and go, and then my ends would seem tethered and all that, and then I'd blow it out and I'd need to get more cut. She would cut, I would tell her, cut what needs to go. She would cut it and be like, okay, you're good. And then just to repeat the cycle, right? And to her credit, this type of damage is so bizarre and peculiar that I realized, like, we just haven't seen it before. This is something that, unless you've gone through it or you're currently going through it, it is the most peculiar and bizarre type of damage ever. Because, like, legit, how can you not be using any heat and have your hair just split up through the wazoo and just depleted and just like hard, stripped and rough and dry? Like, it makes no sense. I've seen chemical damage in hair that wasn't this bad. So it's just like a crazy level of damage. Anywho, so because of all that, like trying to figure out how to repair it and fix it and salvage the hair has been a real undertaking. And I keep bringing him up, but it's the African hair god. It's also Rosie Amelia. It's also Simply Tams. We've all been working together to try and just figure all this out and see, okay, how do we reactively and proactively and systematically repair the hair and salvage the hair? And it has been very, very challenging, to say the least. Let me give this caveat. Maybe it depends on the level of damage. I would say, I would make the assumption that it does, right? Because if your hair isn't as severely damaged as mine or Rosie's or Simply Tam's or some of the clients that the African hair god has been getting in his chair, then maybe you're Gucci and maybe you can salvage the hair. But in talking to Narada, what we have gathered is, for the degree of the damage that, we're just going to talk about my head of hair, right? That my head of hair sustained, I realized that there was no salvaging the hair. I know. Like, legit, I did my best. Did my hair feel better? Absolutely. Did it behave better? Absolutely. Did it feel like a whole new head of hair? It did. It did. It felt softer. It felt more hydrated. It felt easier to brush through. I didn't have the webbing as much as I had before. The Velcroed ends were to a minimum, with the exception of when my hair needed to be cut again. And overall, my hair felt better. And truth be told, I probably could have just rocked with it and maybe allowed it to grow out. I honestly don't know, because there's like little caveats to everything. I honestly don't know, because what I did notice is this particular damage, it runs rampant through your hair. It just travels at a rapid rate of speed. I don't care how much leave-in, deep conditioner, bond builders you use, it travels fast and furious. Like, it could be up in the movie. Like, it could be one of them cars and it'd be a split end sitting next to the car, just be like, whoo, and it would win. It would win, child. I mean, it's just, it's hard to wrap your head around it. It's hard to wrap your head around it. And I feel like when I'm trying to explain it, I almost feel like I sound borderline like cuckoo, 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 because it's just so
Crazy.
So with that said, the damage was kind of just moving fast and furious, I felt. So depending on your level of damage, you may want to cut your hair faster. You may want to cut it sooner rather than later. I know no one wants to hear they got to cut their hair. Trust me. Trust and believe. I did not want to cut my hair. But I think in that last cut that I got in October, I feel like we should have went a little bit harder in the paint and been more drastic with it, because I do feel like there are some hot spots in my hair where the damage kind of started to seep up into the healthy hair. But overall, we are Gucci. I had to go shorter in this area. That's why you see it like this. I had to go shorter because this part was really impacted. So I just went hard and heavy in that area of my hair. And I still have like a little bit going on, but it's okay because it'll eventually work itself through. So that's why I say that there is a balance with how fast or slow you cut it, and you have to determine what's right for you with your stylist. I personally would have liked to have gone a little bit faster, but then what do? Like, how much can you cut? And I don't think I could have done it any different, really, because at the end of the day, I basically had to grow out a whole new head of hair in order to get to where I am, because there was just no salvaging the hair. Because what the hair did was it would just unravel, and I noticed it immediately. So then I was like, well, maybe, because you're holding out hope, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, sometimes all you have is hope. So I'm holding out the hope, you know, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm just being overly sensitive about it, and maybe I need to just kind of pump my brakes. I'm like, let me go ahead and wash it and do all the things. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna silk press it again, and maybe those little flicky bits or the unraveling really are a figment of my imagination, and it'll be better, you know, it'll be better. Child, it was worse. It was a little worse. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And I was so frustrated. So long story short, I had taken Kennedy, my youngest, on a mother-daughter date, and I took some pictures, and I saw the pictures, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, not just done, but done. And the hard part about it is that it would depend on the lighting. In certain lighting, you could see it better than in other lighting, but it was there. And I could feel it. When I would brush through my hair or comb through my hair, like I could feel it. And I was like, I'm so done. I'm so done. It is 2:20 here. I got home. I got very frustrated because I hated the way my hair looked. I started cutting, and I cut a lot,